Well, hey there team, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to The Pale Beyond. We're going back to this today. It wasn't that long ago that we looked at it when I think it released earlier this year, right? I think it's a wonderful game. I played a little bit on the channel, but we didn't really go hard on a playthrough or anything, and so I think this is a good opportunity since we're getting back into that rhythm. Plus, it's on the special, on sale on Steam at the moment, so if you do find it interesting, you would pick it up yourself, you can get it on the cheap. So this game is made by Bellular Studios, which I believe is essentially a subsidiary or subdivision of the guys doing the Bellular News channel. Now, I don't watch them that often. I generally just try and avoid a lot of news, gaming, YouTube stuff if I can help it. If only I just like to make my own opinions when I go into games anyway. But from what I gather, they're fair and balanced, and you know they're quite an exploding channel in the realm of gaming news. So you should check them out if you're not aware. But it's always cool seeing YouTubers put their money where their mouth is. We all sit here and criticize video games and say we could do better, and well, lo and behold, they made this game and it's quite brilliant. It's something that I would like to do one day if I had a pocketbook to support it. Anyway, so we're going to jump into it. I haven't really spoken about the game very much, but you'll see. It's an expedition into the snow, much like the Terror Season 1. Now this, I gave a quick Google because they've changed this since I started. And I'll be honest, as much as I've just sung praises at these guys, criticism where criticism's due. I think this is not a good idea. From what I could gather, Googling from the actual developer's mouth, was the idea that Classic is the original version, but Normal is rebalanced because you pick items and perks and stuff like that, but it seems like they've tried to make it more fair in their terms, whereas this is a little bit more wild, a bit more random, the original vision, right? And I think this is Fence City. I've talked about this before. You should always have a difficulty that says, this is the intended experience, right? And if the player wants to go easier or hard outside of that, so be it. But this Fence City sort of, well, this is what we originally want, but this is the fan feedback balancing, like, commit, guys. I really don't like it because if you want to be critical of their difficulty, there's always an exit plan saying, well, you picked the wrong difficulty, didn't you? It's like, no. So we're going to go Classic because that's as intended, and I'll tear it to shreds if it's unpleasant. Oh, the air be cold, of flake and white, as the sailor begs their pledge. Out on the ice they'll stake a claim and carve a course ahead. Of glory found and forged in frost, so that their tale be spread, a hunger draws the desperate here. It's one that can't be fed. What will ye do when steel hearts break and courage does abscond? I'll lead thee, soul, so help the gods, out of the pale beyond. That's kind of cool. I like that. The Temperance. Begin your journey. Yeah, look, I've been looking for an excuse to come back to this badly. I never played a whole lot. Crew wanted, able-bodied crew wanted for dangerous expedition, months of darkness, low wages, slim chance of safe return, glory to be had in the event of success. Address over leaf, signed by whoever this bloke is. Ron Jeremy. You were alone in the office. The tea in your hand has long since gone cold. It's perfectly adequate. Looking around the room, you can make out a collection of military books. On the desk is a ship in a bottle. A metronome ticks away steadily. It's harmless. I find it rather calming. I do. Who does the metronome thing in Seven? Morgan Freeman? My God, how did I remember that? The dedicated rhythm soothes the senses. It stops. Keep waiting. You hear footsteps climbing the stairs that brought you here. Take a seat. Never remain standing. The door behind you swings open. The captain bounds past you to the other side of the desk. Oh, do you have all your teeth? Sorry, I've got enough to get open mouth. You bare your teeth to the man. Good. Can never be too careful. Yeah, exactly. It's an absolute... for people that maybe have missed it, I mentioned it many times. I'm ex-Navy, right? I spent a career on the sea. Even in modern times, teeth are ship stoppers. Actually, as a quick aside, if you're part of the surface warfare branch, at least when I was in, it was compulsory to have your wisdom teeth removed. They can't risk you having wisdom teeth upsets at sea and potentially, bricking the ship. So there you go. But most of the time, it could be a sign of infection, of poor health, that sort of thing. I believe scurvy, your gums go first, that sort of thing. But I don't really, now I'm a little bit outside of my purview, going back in ye old times. The captain sits down. It's the little things you can lose people to. You speak, well, there you go. I've not had scurvy before. You're late? You don't bloody say that to a captain, dickhead. I've not had scurvy before, if that's what you're asking. There's more things to worry about than just scurvy. How many people have died under your supervision? Ugh. More than I care to admit. Can you remember their faces? I'm ashamed to admit they've faded. Please take a seat. Sit down. The chair is uncomfortably large. The seat feels worn. Yeah, go for it, son. I'm Captain Hunt. Pleasure is mine. Robin Shaw. We'll just go with Shaw. Sure. He nods. Wait for him to continue. Yeah, let him drive. I hope you weren't waiting too long. I'm told it's worth the wait. Here we go. I'll try and riposte, right? A little duel. Let's see what he does with that. I'm told it's worth the wait. Good. There's been a lot of candidates. Some good, some bad, interesting mix. Okay. I'm sure you understand the need for discretion. The advert said there was glory to be had. It all seems a bit convoluted. Keep listening. Months of darkness. Low wages. Slim chance of safe return. Oh yeah, just another Tuesday. That didn't deter you, did it? Quite the opposite. I get the feeling this dude's going to slap me on the wrist no matter what I say. Good work is hard to come by. It's to be expected, surely. I thought it blunt, but it's proven remarkable at weeding out the weak and the pretend. I have a few questions first. He looks down at his list of questions. Were you born a landlubber or a sea dog? Salt-born, the ocean, the same as yourself. I'm salt, born and bred. Military experience? Let's go, the Admiralty. Royal Admiralty 2 tours. Under what circumstances did you leave? In one piece? Desertion? Honourably? Bugger it, it's my role play? Yeah, honourably. Well, we've no stewards to wipe your ass out here. That's a fair response, man. Even to this day, the officer stewarding culture still persists. It was on its way out when I left, and that was like a decade ago, so who knows where it's at. But I never loved it, because I come from a blue-collar background, so I never really enjoyed being waited on by sailors. But anyway, I digress. You best get used to doing that yourself. Have you ever fired a weapon? Yes. Have you ever killed a man, directly or otherwise? Yes. I see. You're not married, are you? Of course not. That's irrelevant, happily. I'll go with of course not. You better not have a death wish. That's a fair reaction. One must believe they'll return to justify leaving in the first place. Any less and you're doing yourself a disservice. Can you get to the point? No. So where are we heading? I don't want to push him. I'm happy to let him continue. We're here. Oh, music. We're here to find the ship in that bottle. The Viscount. Heard of it? This some kind of a joke? No. Yes. Let's say yes. Bugger it. The captain eyes you. But I don't believe it. It was a government vessel to find magnetic south. There we go. Turns out my dude knows. I don't mind this kind of writing, but it's always tough when you are inhabiting a body of a character, right? They've put me into, sure, so I'm not a blank slate character creator, which is fine. I don't particularly care about self-inserting. But when you start asking me to make left and right decisions, right? Invoking moral compass and that sort of stuff, there's some character building in here. But if you start asking me questions, do you know this thing? And I can say, yeah, it's this thing, but I couldn't possibly personally know that. I find that a little bit disruptive. But anyway, just a passing comment. It was a government vessel to find magnetic south. You've a good memory for a soldier. It was. It's a bit of a late rescue operation. They're probably dead. It's beginning to sound like suicide. And we're supposed to be chasing this ship. Exactly. I'm going to need more than rumor about lost ships if I'm putting my life at risk. No, I'm not. This is a bit dry, but I'll try it. It's a bit late for a rescue operation, and they're probably dead. Oh, alive or not, their research is supposedly of extreme importance. Oh, well, you have my attention. I'll perk up. He might like that. The captain smiles. There you go. I mean, yeah, I hear myself speaking. I'm sort of aiming to please a bit, but this is clearly a job interview as well, right? So you got to play the game. You don't just sit here and be a prick. Here's what we do know. Not one person or thing has been heard from the Viscount since it first left port. Until now? Question. Until now. Someone was found who claims to have been on that ship. Oh, wow. Where are they now? Dead, but their testimony seems to have outlived them. Those with more money than sense want that old ship. Okay, so he has reservations about this expedition. That's the job. If I don't pick the first mate, somebody else will, and, well, my judge of character's gotten me this far. Okay. Well, what of our own ship? We'll be travelling on board the Temperance. She's a beauty, green wood, generational. Not many like it left these days. The Viscount and the Temperance, they're sister ships. This is very much like the Terror. You should watch that. If you're going to watch this series, which let me know, and we'll turn it into a series, we'll do more episodes, you should also watch the Terror. Built together, sent out into this world to die alone. Poetic, I mean, it is. Superstition gets to be fulfilled. That's something a landlubber would say. Superstition lives on the sea. What does it matter? We'll go poetic. Indeed. I like to think the one calls out for the other. Okay, so he has a bit of a romantic twist to him. The character looks at the bottled ship. So what do you think? It's worth it if there's a chance anyone's alive. Sounds like you'll need all the help that you can get. It's not that much to go on. This, I'll be frank, I'm a first mate. This is the sort of thing you give him. No, it isn't. The captain checks his watch. Anyway, I think I've heard enough. The captain stands up. We leave in a month. Welcome aboard ashore, proverbially speaking. Proverbially speaking. Put a few extra B's in there. Okay. Don't you need more information? So I have the job. Let's just make him say it. What do you think? I'll see you on the Temperance. I have a good feeling about you, sure? That makes one of us? Why would you say that? Like, this is such a dumb option. Here's the thing that boggles my mind. The person playing this, I mean, unless they got it on a 99% discount and paid $1 for it, right? This is already a niche game with a certain theme, visual novel, all that. The person that's putting up their money to play this game is not the person that's going to pick these meme choices, right? So I get a little miffed when you put these in. Like, the illusion of choice is a whole conversation, but if you put in obviously lobotomy level stupid choices that no one that probably paid money for a good time is going to pick, why? What are you doing? I suppose the only outcome is most people won't notice, and then you have people like me that have a whinge about it. Anyway, thank you, Captain. Captain makes his way to the door and you follow. You arrive at the docks a month to the day. Before you lies a ship. The letters on the side read the Temperance. Oh, approach the Temperance. You walk the cobble to the boarding ramp. Beside is a sharply dressed man overseeing the loading of cargo. Aha. Alright, we'll click on him. Speak to the man. He turns to you with a stern expression and you can feel his eyes assessing you. Colonial. Right, that's my military background. Templeton. A military gate. You must be Hunt's pick for first mate. I figured he'd keep it in the ranks. Good man. Now this dude wears blue trappings and a blue background because of his part of ship. This is what I remember. It's cool. It's actually like from a gameplay design perspective of a sort of telegraphing. It's very clever, right? If not, you know, not exactly accurate, but who cares? It's a video game. So I think like the engineers all wear red or something. I know the scouts, for example. So it's kind of cool. It helps you navigate it, especially if you're not really good with names and ships and stuff. He extends an arm. Richard Templeton. A pleasure. Don't shake his hand. You accept his offer of a handshake. It's a considered shake. I shall be operating as the Chief Science Officer on this expedition. I'm also the incumbent representative of our benefactor, which is he as the sort of de facto for the guy funding the whole expedition. Do, however, consider myself and my team at you and the captain's disposal. What did you specialize in? Applied botany. That's reassuring. Mr. Templeton, I look forward to working together. Maybe I'm just a polite person, but there's usually one answer and it's the polite one. I expect you to be up for the task. Some of the layabouts Hunt hired are questionable at best. No doubt I needn't inform you of your duties. You're second only to the Captain Hunt himself. Though I must warn you that you have quite the task ahead. The rabble I've spent the afternoon sorting are the same that you'll have to whip into shape. Punctuality, schedule, a strict adherence is what we need if this expedition is to succeed. I expect you to be the organised sort. You wouldn't have been assigned the role otherwise. Alright, so we've got temperature, time, okay. I likely have more in common with the crew than yourself, Templeton. Don't say that, you dickhead. I have more than enough experience with a crew of this nature. You speak like you're in charge. They're all dangerous options. I have more than enough experience with a crew of this nature. That is comforting to hear. It would seem for most of the crew, the captain favoured personal history over expertise. It is good to know that he found the capable sort for such a vital role. Let me know when you're ready to depart. So he's hired on a lot of people that he knows from his past. I'm certain that you are eager to be back on the ocean. The less valuable time we waste here, the better. So what's this? The city? You'll be gone for quite a while. It will be some time before you see the city again. A young man stands at the ramp, steeling himself for the journey ahead. Hesitantly, he begins to drag his feet up the ramp and onto the ship. Alright, so he wasn't happy. The Temperance. Hunt's description of the ship was accurate. Near identical to the Viscount, barring some modern additions. Alright, and I think the yellow trim will mean advance, set sail. Oh good, I'll have a quick sip. It's quite wordy, but you know, people seem to enjoy when I get into the more visual novel-esque games. Oh, it's been a month. Oh, this music's a bit loud. Courage of abscond. I'll leave beyond the break beyond. Okay, yeah, no, we read that before. Okay. First Mate Shaw, personal log. It's been 1 month since I signed on and 1 week since we've set sail aboard the Temperance. I'm told the waters will get warmer as we pass the hemisphere before they turn colder. The Temperance. The Admiralty has nothing like this. It's an abomination, it's seaworthy. She's magnificent! A technical marvel, elegant machinery expertly weaved through one of the fastest hardwood ships of its day. Reborn for the mission, breathing again with life. She's simply magnificent. As for its master, he's mostly kept to his quarters so far. I need to know if I can trust the captain. To me, and this is more personal over character, but I implicitly would trust the captain. Generally speaking, I'll trust someone and, sort of innocent until proven guilty. That's sort of how I go. But especially when it's in a rank structure as well, I think you can't come into it doubting. Mutiny is like the most horrible, toxic word I have in my vocabulary, and I just like staying away from that as much as possible. I trust the captain. He seems a trustworthy sort. Yeah? Oh, I have to click over here, do I? Experience alone justifies his position. Exactly. There aren't many who make out the other end of naval military service with all their limbs, let alone his vigor. Though he's impulsive, he's not telling... Oh, I've heard the rumors. Drinking, desertion. There's probably a good reason that he's dressed in antiques. Okay, right. Perhaps I'm too quick to judge. I do find myself warming to the man. That is true. Let's reflect on the crew. As for the crew, there are now 22 of us, including the captain. Our next port will be our last before we enter the ice to pick up the remaining 4 members of the crew, the scouting team. Hunt is also keen to work out a deal on a pack of sledding dogs. The crew are a strange lot, eclectic as the ship itself. Who's paying for this? I can't help but wonder who's footing the bill for all of this. Certainly not the captain. Such exquisite modifications to the ship must not have come cheap. I should investigate further. It is none of my business. I can muse. It's not my business really, but the question still lingers on my mind. This is good writing. It's good. And whatever you call this, the journaling, even though I wouldn't be caught dead writing a fucking diary in real life. I've got too much, real stuff going on. But the idea of journaling in a video game as a narrative click-through visual novel, I suppose, sort of standard, I quite like it. I think it's kind of cool. Same like I was playing Cyberpunk and text messaging with limited responses. I don't know, there's something a little bit more immersive than just a wall of text without some sort of anchor to the game. One of Hunt's sailors approaches. Joe. Captain wants you at the helm. Okay. I'll head there now. He leaves. What we got here? Crow's Nest. Crow's Nest currently stands unoccupied. The scouting team are expected to join at the next port. The forecastle door appears to be locked. Okay. The door to the Hunt's cabin is shut tight. The captain himself is busy at the helm. Alright, let's go join him at the helm. You ascend the stairs to the stern and find the old captain manning the helm of the ship. Ah, Robin. Lovely day for it, isn't it? One of your lackeys summoned me? Fuck me, man. Don't you have a helmsman to do that? Which is a legitimate question. It is unusual for the captain to actually steer. But, I'll just bask in the glory of the sea with him. Indeed. It's days like these I make sure to do my share of the sailing. Fair cop, he winks. Too old to stomach a storm? Why? Let him continue. He thinks for a moment before stepping aside and stretching out a wrinkled hand. Did you ever take the helm in the Admiralty? Never felt right not to for me. Oh yeah? On occasion? Scarlet Seeker has the con? Here, why don't you have a try? Yeah, absolutely. Take the wheel. Let's go, baby. You grip the wheel of the ship and feel the weight of the waves in your arms. You can pan around. It's a novel little steering thing. The memory in your muscles rear themselves as you begin to move in time with the ship and wind. Easy. There, you have it. The captain pats you on the back. Oh, Dad. Fantastic. Now, try to get a sense of where we are. Get some perspective and use the zoom. Peaceful, isn't it? Panning and zooming speeds can be adjusted in the menu. Very good. He takes the wheel back from you. I think I'll drink the morning in a little longer. Would you mind preparing my quarters for the day's work? there's much to do. Yeah, I can do that. So that's locked, is it? Yeah, forecastle's locked. Okay, what have we got here? Oh, a tub. A pristine, furnished tub secured to the floor. A luxury to be had on the ice. A painting. Classical painting depicting sailors doing battle with a kraken. An ode to an old folk story of the great Captain Seamus's dance with the Salt Kings. The desk. On the desk you make out a variety of papers, notes and maps, as well as a sealed letter with a stamp that you don't recognise. The desk itself is suspended with ropes to keep it safely in place. Okay, clever. Take requests. Here we go. Hold counsel. Sort of part of the loop, I guess. You take a seat at the end of the room. The captain joins you. Now let's run through our provisions before taking requests. To start, there's 23 souls signed onto this expedition, ourselves included, right? Here we go. 3 out of 23. That's 16 free to be assigned to tasks if they aren't already busy. The rest are deployed to their permanent stations. You're only able to deploy crew who you have discovered. They must be in good health and not otherwise deployed to another post. We'll be picking up the scouting crew at the next port. The lot of us have also seemed to be in good spirits. This must be morale. The expedition will end tearing itself apart if you end the week with no decorum left. How very proper. We've enough provisions for at least 6 months in case of emergency. If you cannot afford the minimum food rationed at the end of the week, the crew will become malnourished. Unless cured, the malnourished status will develop into scurvy, a severe status effect that prevents crew from working, eventually killing them at the end of the weeks. Right, so you've got green, yellow, red statuses, right? And more than enough fuel to see us there and back again. Colder temperatures will increase the minimum fuel required at the end of the week. If you cannot afford the minimum fuel, crew will become freezing. Unless cured, freezing will develop into frostbite, a severe effect. Does the same thing. So it's the same mechanic as the food. The sledding dogs, well, they're still a matter of negotiation. Dogs will be needed to send sledding teams out to gather resources on the ice. Sending hunts out further requires a greater amount of dogs. They will rest and become available between the weeks. Now, on to work. So we've got Corvid and we've got Cordell. Oh, dogs. Puppy. Cordell. So she is brown background, right? So I think she has her own total color because she's the kennel master, maybe? Have you agreed upon my conditions? To the point, eh? Sure, this is Lady Cordell. Cordell here is to provide us with the kennel of hounds for the sleds. And our agreement was that she would train them up until we part ways at the nearest island, but you neglected to inform me that you were bringing my dogs through the Pale Passage. I had no intention of sending the pack to its death. You seem to have good faith in this expedition. It's one thing to ask for my whole kennel, it's another to drag them into the ice to chase a myth. Okay, she's very forward, but I understand her position. Never before has a buyer been so dishonest, very pointed, and never before has a seller made such strong demands. Well, yeah, have you worked with kennelers though? Like, her life is the dogs. Like, you gotta understand, while you or me might not see dogs the same way, dogs can be seen as tools, but often I see them as guard dogs and that sort of thing, right? But her commodity, her product, her living friends that she raises, almost like children surrogates, right? So it's a bit rich for him to not understand that. She's not selling bloody can openers. Anyway, Lady Cordell, and what exactly are these demands? You've already sold the dogs, you have no control over them now. Do not say that. Lady Cordell, what's that about? A moniker given to me by the locals of the city on account of her vernacular. Right. I find it odd that you seem to have researched me as much as you have my kennel. I like to know who I'm negotiating with. Regardless, sure. She demands that we allow her to come along on the expedition as a member of the crew. None on this ship have the experience and familiarity with these dogs that I possess. If you are taking them to such a brutal location, they will need me to guide them if they have any chance of survival. The humans on board too, of course. Of course. You can see my dilemma, sure. Bringing on another member of the crew is a risk, but our hands may be tied. Your thoughts? I don't see the harm in having an expert on the sled dogs, which is true. We should cancel the deal, find another buyer? No. If you're so adamant, we accept your offer. No. See, they're not really choices to me. That's the only option. I don't see the harm in having an expert on sled dogs. A good point, sure. He turns to her. This deal is already to your benefit. Do you have anyone on board with extensive training in the management and ruling of dogs? Your sleds are useless if you can't control the dogs efficiently enough to haul them. And I would like to ensure that my dogs are treated properly. Welcome aboard, your knowledge should prove valuable. Don't expect the crew to waste your time taking care of your mutts. I hope you're as experienced as you claim. No, I can't see where we can't be warm. If this is how it's gonna go, you don't start it bitter. Welcome aboard, Cordell. Your knowledge should prove valuable. Invaluable. Well, there you go. I'll have a room prepared for you below deck. Crew increased to 24. No need, you'll find me at the forecastle with the dogs. She leaves. I hope I'm not making a mistake, sure. Oh, you and me both, brother. 14 available dogs. Corvid. Now, can we save at this point? This seems about as organic a place. Whatever, we'll work it out. Every game does save systems different. I wish games could just save state as a rule, but that's more of a YouTuber that covers a million games problem than a person problem. Anyway, The Pale Beyond. It's still wonderful. It still holds up. I hope you have found this as interesting as I spew out these words with my dulcet tones. And, I actually, I know that some people enjoy this stuff quite a bit. We've done Vagris and Road Warden and all sorts of other cool stuff. And while personally I don't necessarily play a lot of visual novel type games on my own, but when I'm talking into a microphone, I kind of enjoy it. It's like story time with Scarlet. I wonder if you guys feel the same way about it. Maybe you wouldn't play this game necessarily because it's not your niche, even though thematically it's really interesting. Maybe you just like cuddling up and listening to Daddy Scarlet read it. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm full of shit. Who knows? Anyway, the most important thing is it's on special for the next couple of days. Get it if you're interested. And if you want to see more of it on the channel, let me know, drop a comment. I'll do more episodes. Otherwise, we might just leave it there for the time being. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.